As of tomorrow, it'll have been 3 weeks since Operation Grand Heist has kicked off, and in that time we've seen some smaller things like playlist updates and things that added in a game mode or two here and there, but outside of the festivities to launch Grand Heist, we really haven't seen all that much. That is, until today, because as of this week, we have a lot more content, including Shamrockin AWW and a bunch of other stuff that is going to be jumping in and being a lot heftier than that of just a playlist refresh. So today, as with every single Monday, we're going to take a look at the things to look out for, and on deck today, we have 9 things in specific to look out for in Black Ops 4. Before we jump into it, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitch, link in the description below. We might even be live streaming as of this video going live, but quick little plug of that, going to be getting back on the streaming grind a little bit, so if you guys want to check that out, link in the description below. That said, let's jump right into the things to look out for. The first thing to take a look at in terms of playlist refreshes deals with a brand new mode, or returning mode, but slightly altered for Black Ops 4, that being the game mode Stockpile. Now that name might not ring familiar immediately, but it's Fracture from Black Ops 3, just slightly adjusted. Instead of having the cores like you would in Fracture, you seemingly will have dog tags to deliver to the deposit site, so that's something that's going to be a ton of fun. I think that Fracture was honestly one of my favorite game modes that didn't get all that much attention outside of the core game modes. People obviously gravitated towards TDM, domination, and the like, but Fracture was a ton of fun, and I'm super excited to see that now returning in Black Ops 4. That can scratch one off the list for what we have on deck of the things that were showcased within the roadmap for Operation Grand Heist. We ended up seeing we had Fracture, we had Prop Hunt, we ended up having Infected, as well as Bare Bones. So now that we have Fracture and Stockpile now, as it's renamed, we can track that one off on the list as things that haven't made their way over into Black Ops 4 just yet. Number 2 on the list, you already know, is probably going to be a shop refresh here at this one. I'm really still curious to see how this works out because, well, firstly, in terms of content, there's a number of different things that could happen. We could end up seeing another uniform. We could maybe see another static camo for all weapons being available, but I'm more so curious in the aspect of if we keep seeing pages added to those featured items. Because we ended up seeing the past 3 weeks, we now have the ability to cycle through weeks 1 through 3. So that's something that I think is a brilliant change because it doesn't time restrict players to getting things that may go away and not come back for a certain amount of time. They can take a look at, theoretically, week 1 through the end of the event if this keeps up. So I'm more so curious to see if that is something that ends up happening as well. We get a 4th page added to that, or if we start to finally see it rotate where there's 3 or 4 set pages, but then it kind of cycles on that timed rotation as well. But outside of that, again, I'd love to see some new static camos. I think that's still probably the biggest thing that I'm championing. I really want to see some stuff like that. Uniforms are awesome, sure, but I mean, in a first-person perspective, I'm not really gonna gravitate towards buying a specific uniform because I don't see it 90% of the time. The only part that I'll end up seeing is my hands, and that's about it. Though number 3 on the list we're gonna talk about is the special order because that's not gonna be happening as of tomorrow. The featured items will refresh at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, as they always do on every single Tuesday, but the special order is now on this like weird 10-day rotation or something like that, where we're not in line with the other featured items, and instead this one's going to have 3 days and a few hours of change as of the time you're probably watching this for it to be left. So that's, I think, Thursday or Friday that ends up coming out, but there's not really much that we know could be coming to this. I mean, there are some things still from the trailers and all that we've seen that haven't made its way over just yet, and we'll talk about those in just a second. But one thing that I do want to note for you guys, that it seems like every single special order that refreshes adds an option to add 5% to your boost to your overall tier progression within Black Ops 4's Contraband stream. Doesn't matter if you're tier 1 or tier 3000, you'll end up having a tier boost here for this that allows you to earn tiers a little bit faster than that of the base standard time that it takes. Now, you can only end up using up to 25% here, and it stacks. So say you've bought both the Distraction uniform as well as the Party Rock camo from the first special order, that takes you to 10%. So with another refresh coming, presumably with another 5% bonus added to it, that'll get you to 15%, so you can end up at the most buying 5 of these special orders for the tier boost itself. You can still buy for the items that you want, but that's something to consider as well, that it boosts the tier progression as well, not only just gives you the items that you're actually buying it for probably. But the 4th thing to look out for is the new skins and variants that may inevitably be coming. One thing that really kind of reiterates this in my mind is a recent tweet from Call of Duty that showcased contraband items with a caption, "Choose between a law and disorder." In that video, we end up seeing a space shuttle mastercraft of the Cordite with the Benjamin Benjamin's camo on that, as well as an ABR variant that's covered in donuts. We saw that in the initial Operation Grand Heist trailer, but we haven't seen it since then. So my guess is that maybe with this new refresh of the special orders, and maybe even just the featured items, we see either that Space Shuttle Mastercraft, because it is in the game files, or we end up seeing that donut ABR, either Mastercraft or camo. We don't know exactly which one that is, but I'm going to lean more so towards it just being a static camo that may be available, like the Benjamins, for all weapons, because if you look at it on that Operation Grand Heist trailer, you can see it on that new Mini14 Sniper rifle, which may actually be coming tomorrow as well, and we'll get to that in just a second. But one thing that I really hope does come out of those two is that Space Shuttle Mastercraft for the Cordite, because it is so sick. I can't showcase that on screen, unfortunately, because until it's officially launched, it's still considered intellectual property of Activision and therefore is subject to copyright strikes. But having my good friend Jacob, who you may actually know from some of his work via some of the custom thumbnail icons that you've seen here on the channel, like the recent Hudson character that's been in a thumbnail or two here and there, he sent over some of the game assets and the build of the Space Shuttle variant, and being totally honest with you, it's awesome. I absolutely love this. I'm not a Cordite user by any means normally, but I'm probably gonna have to start using it. Another thing that is confirmed is that we're going to have a change out for the League Play event with rank reassessment happening afterwards in 2 days and a few hours and change. Plus, Treyarch actually tweeted about League Play improvements coming at some point. They didn't specify what that means, but maybe it's a different way for the ranking system to actually work. I know that a lot of people would be really keen on that. Next up, we have a big one that Shamrockin AWW is 100% confirmed for PlayStation 4 as of tomorrow. This is going to bring with it probably another 15 to 20 items or so as a mini content stream, like how we saw with the Barbarians event, like how we saw with the Holiday event, with the Halloween event as well. And so this will be our 4th introduction here with this, in which we end up seeing that. And I'm certainly really excited to see what it will bring along. I definitely think we'll see that Mini14 Sniper that we saw in the game files for quite some time. It might end up including things like the demo hammer, that being the melee weapon we saw as well in the game files, but outside of that, your guess is as good as mine. We might get a cool little reactive camo with it at some point through any of that may not be in the game files just yet, but we also end up seeing accompanying that will have Contraband Hurricane, which the way that this sounds is that we'll have the map Contraband for free and a different variation of it with seemingly dynamic weather. So maybe we have a massive storm off in the distance because it is that island off in the tropics, so it could definitely be subject to a hurricane that comes. So you might have heavy downpours, different lighting, and a whole bunch of different other things that honestly I think could make for some very cool scenery. So that'll be something coming along as well tomorrow. And then outside of that, outside of the MP factor, we have some Blackout things coming with the spring map update. Now, truthfully, I thought this was going to be held off until the 26th because that's when we theorized we'd end up getting a new point of interest, because that's the halfway point of the operation. Focus the first half on Ghost Town, focus the second half on what seemingly is Alcatraz Island or Mob of the Dead, and then it also would come along with that nighttime map that we saw in the trailer. But this actually might just be restoring the colors back to a more so lively green compared to the orange, brown, and somewhat green textures that we have around the map right now. That was seemingly that sort of fall and winter dead leaves and all environment that was around the Blackout map. So that might be something that comes as well. Plus, we might have some St. Patrick's Day themed stuff as well in that map, because we ended up seeing we had snowballs, we had Christmas lights and all that around the holidays. And with this being a more so another larger celebrated holiday event where people can decorate and do things like that, it might be the same sort of thing that we see that happening as well in the Blackout front. Outside of just a map update, we'll also end up having the hardcore mode coming for Blackout as well, which I'm really interested in seeing how this works out. They didn't specify anything like we previously mentioned, that maybe based on our theory we'd have a never-ending zone that just collapses the entire time. But what is known here out of this is the fact that we'll end up having no HUD, no armor, no vehicles, or no zombies. It's pretty much just a bare bones Blackout game mode. So it's going to be a lot more boots on the ground and just coming down to your gunfights and landing those shots. But you also got to be careful, because you can definitely be taken out, even in the body, one shot by a sniper with 150 to 200 health. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm certainly excited to get my hands here on this. But that's going to be coming as of tomorrow on PlayStation 4, and then a week later for Xbox One and PC. Rounding out the content in terms of all of the modes, we'll end up having the Alcatraz Gauntlet coming tomorrow as well. 30 more rounds of challenges for the Primus crew on Blood of the Dead, and that's something that I kind of thought would be getting tomorrow or maybe on the 26th as well, but we seemingly have this like 3-week interval between each of these gauntlets. So having had to go back and redo pretty much half of this video, it's something that I'm glad that that sort of guess that I initially had turned out to be right, and we'll be getting that for PlayStation 4 tomorrow as well. Xbox One and PC, once again, getting that a day later. And the final thing rounding out this entirety of this is that we will be getting Title Update 1.14 as of tomorrow, which sets it up for then 1.15 and theoretically a DLC launch of a zombies map in Update 1.15, if you see that tie-in in comparison to why that's cool, on the 26th or so here at the end of the month. So that's something that we have, Update 1.14, rounding it out. You're probably going to get that right around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as of tomorrow. We don't know how big it will be just yet, but it will take a little bit of time, depending on your internet speeds, to download and then jump into the game and everything that was changed around. So that's something to look forward to, and it's going to round out the things to look out for this week in Black Ops 4. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to? I know that I'm super stoked to jump into Stockpile. I'm stoked to check out the brand new Blackout map, or rather, I should say just spring map update. It's not necessarily a brand new map, but I'm excited for all that kind of stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to grinding out the new tiers of the new Shamrockin AWW event and what may be coming along with that. So let me know your thoughts, but hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay up to date with all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered, the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. You guys also follow me over on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, it's out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.